Okay.
Hi, everyone. If you are joining us for the first time, my name is Ntako and I work at Rise International. Thank you for joining us this afternoon for our monthly webinars. For those of you who don't know, Rise is a non-profit social enterprise that operates in Lesotho, which is a landlocked country in South Africa. And we focus on economic development through job creation, skills development, and entrepreneurship. We have a specific focus in the built environment, and we do this through a hands-on learn by doing fellowship program called In Loco. The fellowship is a design, build, and environment program where we run it for graduates who've studied architecture, construction management, civil and electrical engineering, plumbing, carpentry, and other disciplines which are related to having a building completed as a building. The fellows get a hands-on learning experience while at the same time solving problems in infrastructure. Ultimately, we turn job seekers into job creators. And we help them to start their own businesses, and we take them through a 3-year incubation program once they've graduated from the fellowship, where we connect them with mentors, co-working space, tools, clients, amongst other resources. Now, I am not alone today. I am joined by 2 gentlemen who operate in the space of the circular economy. And we have Ndate Rethabile Muduma as well as Ndate Defombao. Before we get to today's topic, I'd like to introduce them in their different fields. Ndate Rethabile is a graduate from the National University of Lesotho. He had graduated in 2016 with a degree in environmental health. He started his own company called Mazinoto Waste Collection, and he collected waste from household to household and sold recyclable materials to companies that did recycling. A year later, he bought a Nissan and he was able to collect plastics from dongas and sold this and was able to create employment for 1 person. And then later on was able to get 3-month contracts and scaled up with NGOs and was then able to collect scraps to sell them. He then met his future partner, Mpho Phakisi, who then had a track as well as financial resources, and they started the company together jointly, Mpho Sanitary Services, where they've been able to tender and manage waste sites here in Lesotho. Welcome that day, and we're so excited to hear what you have to say for us today. And then our second speaker again, Ndate Defombao. He is a co-founder of the renowned Keep Lesotho Clean campaign. He's an accountant by profession who also works as a business consultant, helping young entrepreneurs with financial and business modeling is his absolute passion. And he has conducted numerous entrepreneurship workshops all over the country. Once again, gentlemen, hi, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Are you both still here? Hi, guys.
Thank you, man. We're excited to be here.
Hello, everyone. I'm still here. And
great. Thanks once again for joining us. Likewise. So now that we've given our audience a background of who you are and what you do, I think it's only fitting that I get to tell our audience why this is such a topic that's very close to our heart. So we're talking about the circular economy today if you've just joined us. And this is something that we're very passionate about because we're always trying to find ways to have renewable access to business, making sure that Basotho are starting to learn that you don't always have to have a large amount of capital. You can use recyclable material and then start turning that into business. Literally, that's why it's called From Waste to Business today. But to start off, we'd like to let people know that if you're ever interested, you can always reach out to Rise at info@riseinc.org. And we're more than willing to connect you to the right people, such as our guests today on the webinar. So without further ado, we'd like to start off with the questions. And I'd just like to ask you first, Ndate, because as we know, you work for Inspire Innovation and you're about to host, I think, a business incubation program or something around the circular economy. What would you say in simplest terms to people who have no idea is the circular economy?
Okay, thank you very much. I hope you can hear me. Okay. So yep. Yes, as Keep Lesotho Clean, we have organized a workshop maybe for a week, where we're going to incubate entrepreneurs who are working on the green economy. So our aim is to help them understand, besides what they're already doing in the environmental space, We're trying to make sure they understand the financial aspects of business, the legal aspects of business, the marketing aspect of the business, because most of our young entrepreneurs in the country, you may find that when they open businesses or they start working as entrepreneurs, they mostly focus on the products they are working on, but they forget the other aspects of the business. So we are trying to help them understand the market, the financial aspect of those businesses. So yes, coming to your topic of the day, the circular economy. The circular economy, I think we should understand that not a single company should be trying to have everything on itself. We all have a role to play in the economy, and mostly we are used to the linear system where every product is produced and be used. After being used, it goes to a waste. So now we are trying to change the mentality of our entrepreneurs to understand that there's a space where they can play, where we used to have waste, and those waste can be used to make money, or they can be used as businesses. We can regenerate something with those waste. So I think today we will be discussing more about that. But before I go into it, maybe Ntatele and I can talk, I don't know. But yeah, I was about to go deeper and maybe, yeah. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Tefo. Hi, Retabile. Would you like to then answer the same question of, in simple terms, what would you say the circular economy means, or what is it?
Thank you very much again for the platform. I think for us as MPHO cleaners, what circular economy basically means is how do we make money out of what people literally call waste? Because I think there's a huge market for waste globally. So what basically for us circular economy means is let's try to recycle the material that basically is called waste, and then bring it back into the market as something that can actually curb what unemployment. It can cut down a whole host of factors such as poverty. So that for us is simply what we basically understand by circular economy here.
All right, thank you so much, Khatabile. And we have another speaker today who's just so kindly joined us. On behalf of Pair Plastic, we have Tiana. Hi, Tiana. We're so excited for having you today. I'm sure everyone from Rise, as well as the two gentlemen who joined me, would love to hear about who you are, just shortly, briefly, and then we'll get to the questions a bit later.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Sorry, I was very last minute looped into this meeting. Just apologies on behalf of Dimpo Twashani, who is supposed to be here today. She's been having some phone issues. So I'll just introduce myself. My name is Tayana Neufeld. I've been with Peha Plastic since the beginning. So we've been operational for about a year now, and we operate out of Morija. So we're a plastic recycling company and education center.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. And in your own words, in the simplest way to someone who's never heard of the concept of the circular economy, what would you say it is?
I think the circular economy is kind of using what you have. So using what we already have instead of investing resources, time, energy, money in creating new product out of new materials. So it's kind of and then the circular part comes in as like when you create something, you're creating it in such a way that it can feed right back into the environment or the community, so that you're not creating something that's just going to end up in a landfill someday. You're creating something that's creating a loop, so that there's not a beginning and an end. It's like these things are going to keep going around, and we're going to keep you reusing this plastic or whatever the material might be, but it's not there's no end point at which it's like, well, this is just garbage and we're going to throw it away forever.
Yeah, thank you so much for clarifying that. This question goes out to you, Diffo. We want to know, how would you say poor waste management impacts our climate here in Lesotho?
Okay. Particularly when I've been working with Keep Lesotho Cleaning, we've engaged a lot with a lot of stakeholders from our MCC, our street vendors, everybody. So mostly it affects our businesses all over Lesotho. So for our businesses to thrive, we need to make sure that our waste is managed. It's managed properly. So most of our vendors will complain that customers are not coming because they are concerned about the hygiene standards of their environment, their surrounding, and our restaurants don't know how to separate waste because you find they are using the oil that they use to fry chips or whatever. They dispose it where they should be disposing maybe water or something, so they block the sewage pipes. Or so yeah, the concern is our waste management is affecting our businesses negatively. Our water is contaminated. You know, here in Maseru we are not drinking clean water, so even our water is contaminated. So a lot of things are affected. Our soil, our agricultural space, it's being affected negatively because crops are no longer growing the same way. Even our what's this? The WASA is trying hard to clean our water, but it's bad. It's bad in the country. So I think we need to really work hard on educating our business people, our communities, how to manage waste, how to separate waste, because some of the things are being done because there's nobody knows how to manage waste. So education needs to be taken out there, and we need to solve it, because especially for businesses, our economy is down because people can't manage waste properly, and we can't even market our business because everywhere it's dirty here.
Okay, thank you very much, Ndate Diffo, for that very detailed answer. This one is for you, Retabile. How do you think recycling creates employment, and it's trying to reduce the prominent issue of youth unemployment that is rising in Lesotho?
Okay. I think when we talk about recycling and job creation, I think we just have to go back to the statistics. The recycling industry was supposedly worth 260 million US dollars back in 2016. And if you look at how big the market is, it means that they still like it is one of the biggest employers. So when we come back, we come here to Lesotho. We look at the biggest job, the biggest people get jobs from recycling would have to be women. I tell people that in this short period that we've worked with recycling the last 7 years, because in business 7 years is a very short time, we find the biggest waste collectors are basically women. I was speaking with a friend of mine, telling them that, whenever somebody says recycling and youth unemployment, I literally say I'm literally scared when we say that in this country, because we find that not a lot of youth are into recycling in this country, but you find that women, because women have become heads of households in this country, we find they are the most involved people in recycling, indirectly as waste pickers, because we buy from waste pickers and then use the recyclables and then build the recyclables for sale in South Africa or here in the country. So I think when we talk about unemployment, I think recycling creates, and it's one of the biggest markets, the biggest job creators in this country, because I count, if you look at the total dumping side, né, you have 135 people working in there who we buy directly. We buy directly the waste directly from them. It's not just us, but a whole host of companies that buy waste from them. And then you look at the pool that we have outside. We have about 50 women that we buy waste from outside. Right here in Maseri. We're talking about Maseri only, but if you go into the districts, there's women as well who sell these recyclables to other companies. So I'd say plus minus 500 people get jobs directly from, either directly or indirectly from recycling, I think.
All right. Thank you so much for those statistics. And I guess we're able to realize that it's not just waste, it actually creates employment and income. This one goes to Tiana on behalf of Pair Plastic. Why would you say it's important for Basotho to adapt a recycling culture?
Well, to kind of hop onto the coattails of Retabile, like just to acknowledge the value that recycling has, or that these recyclable materials have, that there's economic value to recycling, number one, and there's opportunities that aren't being fully capitalized on, number one. Number two, I mean, without going into like the whole reason for environmentalism, but like there's so little being done in Lesotho in regards to recycling, that we have to start somewhere, and we have to start now. I mean, we should have started 50 years ago, but where the planet is the one that we've got, and there's so little being done to create just health in our communities in terms of plastic waste or any other kinds of waste. We don't have waste management systems in place in most of our communities, or at least are not adequate ones if there are some in place. So it shouldn't only be a personal issue, like personally trying to contribute to recycling and a circular economy, but it needs to also filter up into our municipal governments and our local governments, so that more is being done on a larger, more organized level. But back to your original question, like, why is it important? I mean, to live healthy lives. Plastic trash waste is not going away, and the more that we pile on, the more unhealthy our communities get.
Yeah, thank you so much for that very insightful answer. This definitely is a learning curve for all of us. I'm sure even our audience is learning so much from what you've just said, all three of you, which then I guess brings us to the next question for Defo. What measures can be taken to get young people in the country to get involved and more interested to participate in growing the circular economy?
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I think first of all, we need to identify how are we going to get the youth involved. So I think we should use the platforms that they're already using, like we're using Facebook and other social medias, to share the content that we are now talking about. So sharing content on Facebook about these issues, the circular economy, educating them on these kind of topics, I think it will help them while they are still struggling to find jobs and everything, see the opportunities that are out there for them. So I think if we can talk more about these things, they will understand they need to play a role in this, and they can still make a living out of waste or something like that. So I think first of all, we need to educate people. And after that, I think it's more about getting the stakeholders involved, like the government. We need to have the policies, the waste management policies. As people we are still trying to propose something like that to the government, but we need to have those supporting initiatives. We need to have those laws that are out there, so that when these people come and get involved in this kind of environmental issues or circular economy, there are laws that support those kind of initiatives or businesses. So I think it's education, getting the stakeholders involved, so that the country itself needs to transform. So there need to be maybe a political will or something like that, so that things can happen. We need the organizations need to play a role in that, so that we are able to fund organizations that are involved in environmental issues, businesses that are involved, they should get grants, financial support, and then I think the country itself will evolve eventually.
All right, thank you so much, Defo. This one goes out to Pair Plastic. Which recycling or green initiatives would you say speak mostly to you, or are the ones where you've seen the biggest change or impact here in the country?
I see that Dimpo has joined us. Dimpo, do you want to answer this one?
Well, I was waiting to answer the one with the numbers. Hello, everyone. I'm sorry I'm late and my voice is a bit muffled, but so far, I would say perhaps plastic. I think, honestly, there isn't really much that I think we're doing in Lesotho. Even as I speak for perhaps plastic, there's so much to be done. But I think I am very, very encouraged by, I don't see if it's here, Radi Doti, and the way he's been going about using plastic. So I think that his initiative is really the one that I support a lot, and I would love to see it grow more. And I know that he's trying to also involve education as part of what he does. And so I would like to see that happen, as perhaps that's part of what we do. And and also, if you look at circular economy, it's not something that is known in Lesotho. And so that means we have so much work to be done in educating people about what circular economy is. Even the word recycling is still a bit of a problem for a lot of people. So yeah.
All right, thank you so much, Dimpo. Because you just joined us, and I'm sure people in the audience would like to know, because we've just gotten information you went to Europe, I believe, for some training on recycling. Do you want to give us a bit of insight on that?
Well, it wasn't really training on recycling. It was training on renewable energy, wind farms, specifically because the company that helped me start Peha Plastic is a wind company. They're trying to develop bring wind turbines, wind farms in Masite and Mohalishoek. And so we're trying to see how that will impact Lesotho, or if Lesotho even needs that. And these are also very, very different areas. Mohalishoek, for one, is very rural. For many other things, for one, people don't have access to internet there and access to a lot of things. And so how will us bringing wind turbines change their lives for the better? What is it that, apart from just putting those structures there, that Hirundu plans to bring to Mohalishoek and even Masite? And so it's still an ongoing. Right now, we're waiting for Mohalishoek to be approved, so that we can start on the sensitization and going to teach people about what renewable energy is, what Hirundu is trying to do, and also trying to figure out what is it that the people in Mohalishoek actually need, and how do we best fit it into Hirundu's mission and vision to be able to support what is already happening there. And also, obviously, that will mean that PEHA will also be involved highly in that, as it's like a baby of Hirundu. So it's just trying to tackle the general thing of climate change.
Okay, that sounds really exciting, Dimpo, and we're so glad you're in a place or a space where you're more than willing to share this with other Lesotho youth who'd love to get into the same scope of work that you're in. For those of you who just joined us, welcome to our monthly webinars that Rise hosts. Please do post your questions either on the live Facebook video chat or here on our Zoom chat. We're joined by, at this point, 4 people who are really doing well as young Lesotho youth, or in this case, Tiana is also a partner of Pair Plastic in the circular economy in Lesotho. So we'd like to know from all of you, how much do you think the circular economy is worth globally? We'll start with Khatabile. Khatabile, are you still with us?
Yeah, sorry, I lost the... Hello?
Hi.
Yes, sorry, I had a network problem.
It's okay. No, I just asked, it's a question for all of you, but I started with you. Like, how much do you think, or do you know and have the specific numbers of how much globally the circular economy is worth?
I think, like I said, the research that we have in this country, if you look at the documents we have, they date back to 2016 when it was around 260 million US dollars. It was back then, and then it was supposedly supposed to grow with 17% annually. So if you go back to 2016 and then you implement the increment by that 17%, it's a lot of money, and it's a lot of jobs that are being created, I think.
Yeah, that's a very good answer. Difo, do you want to add on to what Otabile said?
Hello. Okay.
I...
I'm not sure about the numbers specifically, but yeah, the circular economy is the ongoing thing right now, so I wouldn't say much different from what he said, but yeah, I think I'm not sure about the numbers to be specific.
Even if it's not about the numbers, are you in a position to say in the next 5 years, this would be a sector that's generating a lot of income for the global economy?
Yeah, yes. Yeah, for sure, because if you can see in our country right now, globally the circular economy, it's one of those things like technology. It's a growing market, so I do believe that in the next 5 years, we're going to have more companies shifting their business model to accommodate more a secular way of operating. So if you do know that there's what we call a secular business model, where it's a similar thing like a secular economy. So it's where businesses are adapting the system where they are making sure that whatever they are producing, it's being reinvented, or they are recycling their products to an extent that it keeps going on and on in a secular manner. So I think in the next 5 years, most businesses will be adapting the model.
All right, thank you so much, Difo. This goes out to Otabile and Tiana. We've already heard from our other 2 panelists. What would you then add on about telling the audience, or even us as Rise, do you think that this is a sector that's going to be leading the global economy? If you have any statistics to back it up, this is just really for our own knowledge. There's no right or wrong answer.
Yeah, I don't. Go ahead, Dimple.
Are you sure?
Yeah. I'll add on
Oh,
the end.
okay. So according to what's this called? According to World Business Council, transitioning to a circular economy will or can unlock GDP growth of 4.5 trillion by 2030. That's the number I have. At this point, I think globally, I think we have like 8.6% of circular. And so that means according to this, what I'm reading is that we need like about 8.4% to get to a number that we can say is good enough to boost the economies. And also to add, moving towards a circular economy is going to help a lot of businesses get ahead. And also we need to have a policy readiness, regulations, pricing, because this is a new industry for a lot of us. And so I think there's huge potential, but as I keep saying, I think also there's a lot of education that still needs to be shared and awareness.
Okay, thank you, Dimple. We'll hear from Tana now.
Yeah, I was just gonna add on, like, I don't have any figures for you, but I think this is going to be a growing sector in the next decade and decades to come, because it is such a there's such a squeeze right now on the earth and the resources, and we can also already see that things are changing on a planetary scale. And what we need now is buy-in from our governments, so that there are resources available for businesses that are trying to make it work in the circular economy locally. But we need support, and we need legs up from our local governments to make these businesses easy to set up and easy to run, because right now that's not the case. So yeah, if there's such an opportunity for growth, I think we just have to not be held back, because there's so many creative thinkers in Lesotho, and there's so many opportunities. Like even us at Peha, like there's only so much that we can do. Like we cannot be the only recycling company in this country. There's so much more space for other people to get involved. But there needs to be support, and there needs to be information and resources made available.
Absolutely. I agree so much with what you just said. What we need to really drive home to our audience is that all of you are entrepreneurs, and you were so brave enough to venture into a field that no one was even willing to understand what it is. And I think it's only fair enough to share some of what would you say are the most memorable experiences you have when you first started out. Retabile, we heard from your bio in the beginning that you started off on your own, collecting waste from household to household. I'm sure you have a lot you can tell us about of your early days in business.
I think if I go back and then just try to reflect and say what are one of the best moments I've had, I think it would be the beginning, because we came up with an initiative. See, household waste, né? Everybody was just collecting it and taking it to dumping site. We came up with an initiative of integrated waste management. We collected waste from households, sorted the waste, and then your plastic, your PET, your HDPE, and then we just sorted the waste and then went out and sought the market. We just looked for the market, and we got there. I think just coming up with an idea that that is being intended for us is still one of the biggest highlights that we've ever achieved as a business, because we shied away from the everyday collect and throw business. So we went into something that, okay, we collect, we sort, and then we collect and then bring it to our plants and then sort the waste, and then you'd find that 80% of what we collected from households is actually recyclable. So I think for us, coming up with such a great initiative is still one of the best moments that we did. Not setting aside working with a whole host of NGOs on several projects, we cannot write them off, but I think the fact that it was a fresh idea for us back then, I think it's still one of the best moments we did.
Absolutely. That sounds like it was such an integral part of your journey, and please continue doing what you're doing. You're inspiring other young people who probably didn't know it was possible, but through you, they're getting inspired. Diffa, what would you say inspired you or motivated you to get involved with the Keep Lesotho Clean campaign? Because the reality is people think of waste or recycling, they're just like, no, I'm not getting involved with such.
Oh, okay, yeah. For me, it was never planned. So what happened is we organized a cleaning campaign firstly. So once we did the first cleanup and all the volunteers that were there, I think after that cleanup, we had a meeting, about 20 of us or less, and that's where the idea came up. So it was never planned to start Kapoho, to get involved in as much as we did right now. So yeah, we just came up with the idea, and then we started establishing what would it take for us to really have an impact. So we came up with about 5 pillars or 6 pillars that will really help us to move. So we had this legal and institution department, we had education and awareness, we had media and communication, and business and innovation, stakeholder and partners. Then we did research. So after we have identified those things, that's when we started saying, okay, where in this circular economy, or in this field, where do we want to play? So we have Bopeha Plastic who are already doing what they are doing. So we said, okay, let's just be a catalyst. So we connect all these organizations that are already doing what they're doing in the environmental space, and we try to find out where can we help them, where is it that they need to be assisted. So that's just keep Lesotho clean. It's a catalyst. We try to help each and every organization that is already existing, or anyone who's trying to get involved in the green economy or the circular economy sector. So yeah, that was the idea, and that's what really inspired us.
Well, that's a good initiative, and I'm glad you guys decided to just get it going. To Dimpo and Tiana, let's just hear your story. Pea plastic, literally that means you cook plastic. That's the sort of translation in basic words. What happened for you guys to just decide to get started? I'm sure this is such an interesting story.
Wow, where do I start? Well, it started with a tweet. But I think Tiana and I have been involved with plastic way before PEHA started. And Mujat Center, we have a plastic fantastic. I don't know if you're aware that she weaves with plastic, and we've done a lot of things with plastic. And so I think for us, it was just natural to go into that direction. But for me, my personal journey is that when I moved back to Mauritius, I wanted to do something that was bigger than myself. And I tried to do so many things. I tried to knit, which I was sucked very badly. And going to the hub literally changed my life, because I think it's where my journey with climate change started. And so after we had the first session, I think with climate change, I was for sure that I wanted to be doing something about that. And I had only just had recycling like everyone else, and only to find out recycling is actually more complex than what everyone else seems to think. And so I had this idea that I want to have a recycling. It initially was a recycling corner, which would be at the Mauritius Art Center space. But the more I learned, the more I realized how complex it is. But I still maintain that I wanted a recycling corner. And so this is where the tweet comes in. And so through the many awareness campaigns, animations, and many things that we did with the hub, I started tweeting about them for a long time. And I was actually about to give up, because I would literally get 2 retweets or literally 1 like. And I was like, okay, well, nobody cares about climate change. There was no engagement, nothing at all, until I got an inbox from some guy from Belgium who was interested in what we're doing in Mauritius. And so he wanted to know, what is it that I do? What are all these animations about? And I told him everything, literally everything that happens in Mauritius, the hub, Mauritius Center, the artists, and then they wanted to know what I wanted to do. What is it that I wanted to do about climate change? It's like, well, recycling corner or center would be a start. And so I think if we had conversations up and going, emails and whatnot, just trying to hear what is it that I want, do I know, have I done enough research? Until I realized I actually didn't know anything. And so I think fast forward, they decided, well, we found recycling machines and we're gonna buy them. And so do the recycling then. And so Tiana and I started. Now we actually had to now learn how this thing works, because we didn't know anything about HDPE or PET or any of those things. And so we started learning about everything on YouTube and some of the materials that we were getting from the people who built the machines. And it's been exciting because there was two of us there for a while, just assembling and putting machines together and getting burnt by the plastic. And so I think the most inspiring thing for me, ever since we've started PEHA, has been me standing in front of the skills and soup kits at the hub. Because I was once that kid who sat there and had Rise International come and talk about architecture and have all these amazing people come and talk about so many things. And so now finally for me to stand there and hear these kids chant back HDPE, PET, all these types of plastic has been one of the most amazing feelings of my life. And so, yeah, that's my journey.
Wow, that's such a beautiful journey, Dimpo. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Tiana, do you want to add on to what Dimpo has said so far? Or she's covered everything basically?
I mean, Dimpo, she's covered it basically. We kind of came at PEHA Plastic from an artistic. We wanted to find and have a vehicle to create change within our community. And I'd echo that and say, like, seeing the kids come to PEHA with the correct types of plastic, and they're washed and they're cleaned, and it's so heartwarming to see that they're recognizing the value that this plastic can have in their own lives, and they know now how to keep it from ending up in our environment.
Yeah, all right, great. Yeah, I think we've gotten enough content to understand what it is you're all doing, and I must say it's really remarkable and inspiring. I once again, if you're watching us, thank you for joining us. You've just joined our monthly webinars that we as Rise host. If you have any questions for our panelists, please do post in the live Facebook video chat, or if you're joining us here on Zoom, please post your question in the chat box. Now that we've recapped your journey and the big...
Sorry, Rita, to interrupt. Hi, everyone. I'm the founder of Rise, the background here. Just there's been a few questions in the chat on Facebook for MPHO at Retabile, just to outline exactly what it is you recycle. So for those people who can't see that in the chat box, maybe Retabile, you'd like to just tell people what it is you recycle, what materials you recycle.
Okay, like I indicated, we have full-scale recycling company, plastic recycling company. That means we buy back your PET, that is your soft drinks, your everyday soft drink bottles. We also buy your HDPE, that is your cosmetic, your everyday cosmetic containers, plastic cosmetic containers. So you'd find that they're labeled plastic number 2. We also buy LDPE. Your LDPE is your everyday plastic bags. Normally here at home they're called checkers. And then we also buy polyprop, those your buckets, and then you find that written number 5 as well. I think as we're also venturing into e-waste. We're venturing into e-waste. We're just waiting authorization from the Minister of Environment. We'll send our Basel permit requirements. And also oil recycling. We're also venturing into recycling. So those two are waiting approval from the Ministry of Environment. So that is basically what we do as MPHO.
Super. Thank you so much. Sorry, Ree, I'll be looking out for more questions or comments in the Facebook chat box. That's it for now.
Okay. Yeah, thanks for looking out for the questions then. Yeah, I think at this point, what we just want to know is, what does the future hold for all of you? And do you feel like there's opportunities for growth in the country? I think, Tifo, you can start us off.
Okay. As for us as Keep Lesotho Clean, we really hope we'll get more involved with all the organizations that are working and businesses that are working in this space. So we are trying to push we have a website where we are trying to combine all the organizations that are involved, and where they can share their maybe what they're struggling with, or the issues that may arise, so that when we approach, because our main focus is advocacy, so we are trying to understand them, how they work, and what are the struggles that they face during their daily work, or as an industry. So we hope one day we can have them, we can have that sort of an organization, or where we can communicate and establish the laws and regulations of this industry. So yeah, I think that's the future for Keep Lesotho Clean, and we still maintain we want to advocate, we want to educate Basotho about seeing into waste management and everything that is involved.
Okay, that sounds interesting. And I'm sure people who are watching us can already hear how they can get involved with this initiative. Retabile, what's next for Mpo Sanitary and Cleaning Services?
I think what's next for us is literally going big. Going big, whether we get funding or we have to raise the capital for ourselves. We want to open a full-scale recycling factory here in Lesotho. Because, look, if we are buying all this plastic and some of it exporting it, we're not doing the best there is. The best there is opening up a factory here at home, pelletizing the plastic, and then molding it into whatever we want to do. And then just imagine how many jobs we can create. We can, instead of just having, I think in this country, the biggest employer is the clothing sector through its factories. How about we bring back the waste that we have in this country, and then just use it as one of the biggest employers as through that. I think for us, the biggest, what's next for us is creating full-scale recycling plants in this country. I think just to cover up the question that you asked, Ndapete, and some of the challenges that we are facing in this country. I think if you look at, there are lots of stakeholder meetings in this country, but what really are the challenges that we meet are not really tackled. Because if I was reading an article on the newspaper that was talking about a stakeholder meeting that was held by the Ministry of Environment, but unfortunately did not have the private sector. If I told you that for you to export plastic waste or any other waste, you have to get an ITAC permit from South Africa. So the problem that we have is that South Africa has revoked its ITAC permit for PET. It means that we can no longer export PET into South Africa. And PET is one of the biggest plastic waste that we have in the country. It means that without the government actually coming back to us, your NGOs, your Keep Lesotho Clean, your Pair Plastic, and actually asking us what are some of the challenges, I think we'll never solve the whole issue of plastic waste management. We cannot lobby, we cannot talk about policy without first knowing what are some of the challenges on the ground that we have.
Okay. I'm so excited for the new plastic recycling factory that you want to start, Otabile. Please do let people know how they can get involved with that, because I think I saw a question on Facebook saying if you and Daditifa can leave your contact details in the chat box. Last but not least, Tiana Dimpo, what's next for Pear Plastic?
Wow, I just want to comment before I say anything on what Ratabili just said, because PET is such a problem. And if that, what you just said is true, it means it's going to become more of a problem, especially because even as PER, we do not recycle PET. So I'm just wondering what's the next step for that. So the next steps for PER Plastic is that, fortunately for me, I've been attending a workshop by the UNDP to capacitate women enterprises. And so I think for me, the plan right now, we celebrated 1 year in May 29th of PEHA, and it made me aware of so many things that I'm reflecting on, many things that we need to have set up. Because also I realized there's a lot of assumption that we are such a big capacity. We are not at that level yet, but the plan right now is we are actually going to remodeling, sort of creating a business plan that is more sustainable. Because I don't think that's something that I had done in the beginning, because I honestly didn't want the business part of it, but I guess I have no way out now. So that's the next month. I'll be working with a mentor from UNDP in creating a sustainable business plan for PEHA. And I would like to stay there, because then after that, it's just more and more of programming that we want to do and getting more involved. We are very excited to collaborate, and we want to collaborate more with anyone who's recycling. Please, Ratabile, come take this PET. So, yeah.
All right. Thank you, Dimpo. Ratabile, you can already hear she's got business for you already. So this was a fruitful session for you. Tiana, anything else you want? Sorry, Ratabile, what were you saying?
I think it's been a good one for me today on the business side.
Definitely. Tiana, you want to add on?
I'm sure, yeah. So we've just, one of our machines has been down for the last 6 months or so. We've been missing a replit part, so we just got it back up and running, our extruder machine. And I'm particularly excited about it because now we're creating like a long, thin kind of thread made of plastic. Some people are actually using this plastic to do 3D printing. I've seen it done on YouTube, but we're not quite there yet. But trying to find new ways to use recycled plastic in a local context. And I mean, I'm an artist, so I'm just really excited to explore with weaving techniques. I mean, weaving is an industry in Lesotho as well. So how can we tie plastic recycling to the creative industries that are happening in Lesotho and already here? That's kind of where my passions get ignited when thinking about the future of PEHA plastic, is how can we make more art, you know, and find more markets for these products, so that we can, you know, in turn create more artisans and create more entrepreneurs, kind of have it trickle down. So that's what I'm excited about for sure.
Yeah, we're also excited. Thank you so much once again to everyone for agreeing to be part of our monthly webinars. This was such an insightful conversation. I learned so much today. My co-host Daniela learned so much today. Hopefully our audience as well online and here on Zoom learned so much today. In the chat box.
Yeah, in fact there's a lovely comment from one of the listeners on Facebook, from Cherry Mongagane, saying, dope conversations, above everything, education is instrumental to transforming our business ethos to that of cradle to cradle. Big ups to the panelists for their dope work. So
exactly, using his words, this was a really dope session.
And please, everybody, remember before you round up, just a reminder, you've got a link in the chat there, both on Zoom and Facebook, to everybody to complete the survey to tell us what your thoughts are about the topic today and what kind of topics you'd like to hear about in future. So please do complete that before we end the next couple of minutes, because that link will disappear off the Zoom call and it will stay on our Facebook page. But thank you so much to all the panelists. That was really, really insightful. We really learned a lot, and it's great to hear that there's more companies going into this sector. There's so much more opportunity, and I'm sure after Keep Lesotho Clean do their boot camp, maybe I'm sure Ree's going to give you all a chance to do a 30-second roundup. But please tell us all how people can get in touch with you. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot more startups coming up after that Keep Lesotho Clean's boot camp that is taking place in a couple of weeks' time. So this is really, really exciting, and to finally see things moving in the right direction. At least on the entrepreneurship side, then the other structures with government and so on will hopefully come into play as well, and we will be sharing this link to help influence and advocate and promote this sector for sure. So thanks everybody. Over to you, Ree.
Yeah, thanks, Dan. But yes, I guess closing off, if you can all just let us know, how do people reach you? And how can they get involved in any initiatives? How can they volunteer and any of that if you need the help? Therefore, I think the best way to ask you is, how do people get involved with Keep Lesotho Clean? You can take it from there, I'm sure.
All right. We have a Facebook page, we have a website. So if you want to get in touch with us, you can just drop us a message on Facebook. From there, there's also some contacts on Facebook page and our website. So if you want to get involved anyhow, because what we do is help people organize whatever they want to do that has to do with environmental issues. So if you want to get involved, let's communicate. We can have a phone call, or you can just holler at us at Facebook. So yes, ma'am.
All right, great. I think I'll be dropping you guys a message every now and again, Dan too, probably.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
So
yeah, Retabile, how do we reach you and how do we volunteer? Because this whole plastic, what did you say, a workshop or like a factory? I'm sure people want to get involved. How do we help you? How do we reach you? You're on mute, Retabile. You're on mute.
Yes, sorry, I was typing that. I forgot that I was on mute. But basically, the first question is, how do you get a hold of us? I think for us, you can still follow our Facebook page, Must Not Waste Collection. We're still using the old company name for Facebook. You can also WhatsApp us on +266 5648 6773. I think though you can get a hold of us on those platforms. And then how do you help us? Please just go. I think the initiative by Pair Plastic and the Hub, you know, those small recycling corners, you can create your recycling cooperatives back home, and then we promise we'll buy from those recycling cooperatives. Please, they play a big role. That's how you can help us.
Okay, sounds good. And if we want to volunteer, how do we go about that?
I think for us, because we're a company, we don't carry out initiatives. We just support. Because, for instance, we are affiliated with Keep Lesotho Clean. We're affiliated with Maloti Mountain Brewery through the programs. So for us, we volunteer, not we don't tell people to volunteer on us. Yes.
All right, great stuff.
I
And last but not least,
I have a question for
okay, sure.
How do we donate plastic or other waste materials to Mpho?
I think we have a system of collection. If you guys just tell us how much waste you have, such that we're able to organize what sort of transport we we bring to you guys, and then that's how we'll take it from there.
Okay, awesome. Thanks.
Thanks.
Yes, over to you, Tiana and Dimpo, to close us off of how do we reach you and how can we be of any assistance to Pay Up Plastic. Tiana, and I think we just lost Dimpo.
Oh, I think Dimpo just cut out. Yeah, so
Yeah.
we're in Mauritius. People can follow us on Instagram, on Twitter, and on Facebook, peha_plastic, peha p. And then they can contact us on WhatsApp as well. I don't have the number off right in front of me. I'm so sorry. But we are, yeah, or you can visit us in Mauritius. There's signs posted from the post office. So yeah, or get in touch with Dimpo Tlahlane. She's our Peha Plastic boss lady. And she'll set you in right.
All right, thanks for that. And then thank you once again to all of you for going to be panelists and to the audience for spending your lunch hour with us. We have these webinars every month on the last Thursday of the month. We just had to move it to the first Thursday of the month due to last week being a very, very long holiday. If there's of course any additional topics, like my co-host Daniela mentioned, there's a link in the survey, in the chat box, to a survey of basically what type of topics you want to hear, because we're trying to create a platform of awareness around new topics or topics that people don't really have that much light on. If you want to follow us, we are on all the social media platforms. We're on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, even TikTok, believe it or not. We have that orange, TikTok. We have that orange logo. It's called Rise. And we're more than happy to always interact, and we're looking always to engage. Thank you once again for the wonderful contributions we had, and have a Rise-filled day. Bye, everyone.
Sorry.
Oh, hi, Dimple.
Sorry. Can you please share the link on WhatsApp, Daniela? The Google's form thingy, the survey.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thank you.
You're on mute, Dan.
Yes, certainly. Sure, will do. Thanks again, everybody. Thanks for your time. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.